Welcome to Voices of Global Freedom Radio. We are broadcasting from San Diego, California, Saturday, April the 4th, 2015. This is Backpack and our co-host Yoda. We bring our patriotic, conservative audience news you can use and actionable tactics, methods, and strategies to survive and thrive in these dangerous, troubled times. We are proud to be syndicated with the popular radio networks, the Spark Radio Network, K98 Talk, Leading Edge Radio Network, and the top 5 news picks on Top Talk Radio, along with Sean Hannity, Rush Limbaugh, and other household names. We are honored and privileged to have National Anthem girl who has crisscrossed our beloved nation, singing the National Anthem in all 50 states, and it's wonderful having her on the show and all the wonderful things she's been doing in different venues that she's been at. Yoda, how are you today?
If I was any better, Backpack, I would take something for it. Excited about our guest today. What an accomplishment. Happy Holy Saturday to everyone, and a warm welcome to our friends with the Joint Terrorism Task Force. Glad you heroic men and women friends of ours are listening in, as well as law enforcement. Without further ado, Janine, welcome to Voices of Global Freedom.
Thanks for having me. This is exciting. I've never been interviewed by anybody with such cool names, Yoda and Backpack.
We do that because we're still active with federal agencies and law enforcement countering terrorism. That's why we appear in public with pseudonyms. We don't want a front yard full of cartels. Tell us about you. How in the world you are charming, gorgeous, and you got a great voice. How did it occur to you to sing Star Spangled Banner all over the country?
It's a good question. I love traveling, and I sang the national anthem a bunch of times when I was in high school, and I really felt there had to be something that would make a statement. There are generations coming up that really don't know what the words mean. There are people that don't understand why they're standing with their hand over their heart sometimes. So I said, if I could sing the anthem in all 50 states, it's like running a marathon. And people want to know why you're doing it and what's the purpose. And it's really to promote patriotism and honor our nation's heroes and promote a dialogue about that.
It's wonderful what you're doing. How did you get the idea? We know that you tried it in a couple states, and then something dawned on you, and you thought, well, let's go for all 50. What was part of that?
I don't actually know what it was that dawned on me. Maybe, hey, I'd really like to work really hard for the next 2 years. The heart of it is just that I sort of fall in love with what the song meant, and also got to meet so many of our brave men and women who embody the meaning. And to honor them with this would be a great thing. Nobody ever did it before. It made history. Pretty cool.
Well, and that's a big part of what America's all about. And you've sung at so many different venues, which has been amazing. One of the most incredible places is Fort McHenry. Tell us about that.
Fort McHenry was a absolute dream come true. I had no idea that I would get to do it, but when I realized the national anthem was turning 200 on September 14th, that was when I really said I need to finish before then. So in the beginning of 2014, I had been meandering through different states, just kind of like when I could do it, I would do it. When I realized the anthem was turning 200, I said, I really have to, put a fire under this and get going. I didn't know that I would get to actually sing at Fort McHenry, which is where Francis Scott Key was in a boat looking at that fort and seeing that our flag was still there. I was asked to sing by an organization called Star Spangled 200, and I got to sing at the fort on the fort at the flagpole in the morning while they were raising a flag that I had bought, like it was like one of those souvenir flags. I got to sing the national anthem, and a whole bunch of people also around me. We all sang it together. And then the Coast Guard, the U.S. Coast Guard, had found out what I was doing. And they invited me to go aboard Cutter Ibis, and they said, you want to come and watch the Blue Angels fly overhead after you're finished with everything at Fort McHenry. So obviously, I'd love to do that. So I said yes. Well, they are so awesome. I love the Coast Guard. I always say now the Coast Guard makes dreams come true, because not only did they take me on the cutter, the Massachusetts let me drive the cutter to the Star-Spangled Buoy. Did you guys ever hear about the Star-Spangled Buoy?
No, we haven't heard about that.
Okay. It's a spot in the, I guess you would consider it the Inner Harbor, which is the approximate area where Francis Scott Key was on the boat and saw our flag was still there. So I got to go out to that spot. Now remember, this was on the 200th anniversary, so 200 years to the day. I got to sing the national anthem at the flagpole, and then we pulled the cutter at that buoy, and I sang the national anthem from that spot. So it was so surreal. It was amazing and priceless, and I'm forever indebted to the Coast Guard for that.
Well, I've got to chill up my spine. I know our audience has. As you've done the anthem in all these different places, have you had to chill up your spine when you're in these venues?
Oh, there were a lot of times, and they were usually at the moments where you wouldn't expect it to be. And sometimes, yes, obviously you expect it. There was one time I remember specifically, it was one of the hardest times for me to sing, and it was because it was near Ground Zero during a 9/11 memorial, and I was at, it was a company that was like an umbrella company for like Cantor Fitzgerald, and I started to sing the national. We were in a stairwell. This wasn't a stadium. This wasn't anything huge. This was just a bunch of men who had friends and family and people they'd known for years who had died in the terrorist attacks. And as I was singing the anthem, I still remember the guy. I started to sing, and he busted out crying because it just overwhelmed him. You know, hearing that song, there's so many things that come to everybody's mind, you know, different things, different times that you remember. And it was just like, oh gosh, I have to keep this together because you can't stop singing the anthem. But that was a really difficult time. But it drives home. The national anthem is the top 3 American symbols, and it represents so much of who we are as a country, our bravery, you know, what we've done, all the sacrifices. And that's what I always say, for 90 seconds while that song is being sung, it doesn't matter who you voted for. It doesn't matter what team you want to win. We are united, and there is power in that moment. There's unity in that moment, and that's really why I did this, to really call attention to that, you know. And so that was one of the times that, you know, I got to chill up my spine, I guess you could say.
Good on you, Janine. You ought to hear. I will only vent once. This ridiculous president thinks our anthem is too military, of course. How absurd. He wants us all to sing. Yeah. Go ahead, Janine.
I think our military is who enabled us to be able to sit and watch a game, and there's no reason why we shouldn't honor them. You know, I've gotten to meet so many who are the most humble, who are the most family-oriented, who are really who we are most proud of. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the song. I love it.
I came by it in the DNA. My father was heroically decorated in the First World War. I grew up with it as a young lad in the Second World War. I joined the Air Force underage. My mother ratted me out. She found out I was in Korea instead of Greenland. Then I went in the Army. So we're pretty military here. We live at the corner of Camp Pendleton.
I've never been there, but I would love to visit. So
we can do it. You come down, we can do a tour of Pendleton and some other things also.
I would
Over
love
to
that.
you guys. Well, we'll do it. Also, with your permission, we're on a lot of other shows. We're on as guests as well as our own show. Mm-hmm. I know from talking about you only recently, a lot of shows have had you on, would love you to be on. With your permission, we'll be recommending you. Is that okay?
Please recommend me. And if there's any events people want me to sing for, if people want me to speak at events about the whole journey and the things I've learned, I'd love that. So, yes,
wonderful.
You guys could be my booking agent. How's that?
Well,
we'd love to.
We just did, yeah. It's really hard to sing the Star Spangled Banner, isn't it?
Not really, but that's coming from somebody who's sung it for probably almost thousands of times at this point. But what I have learned is you need to sing it the way it was written. And when I was younger, I was one of those people that loved to sing the national anthem and try to use it as a tryout for American Idol. But as I kept singing it and meeting the people who represent that song, I kept pulling back all my crazy vocal acrobats to the point where now, I one or two little things at the very end I might embellish, but other than that, it's so that everybody can sing along. And it's the most amazing thing when you can hear all the voices in the audience singing with you because they can sing it with you. It's that hard, really, if you just stay straight with the melody.
What do you do for accompaniment usually?
Nothing.
Really?
I'm very low maintenance. Yes, I'm very low maintenance.
Amazing. Wow.
That's great. We just got an email from. We just received an email from St. Petersburg, Florida. They want to know what was the hardest time that you had when you were singing it.
Hardest time that I had singing it. It was definitely hard, but it was definitely interesting. The last date was Tennessee. LP Field, I sang at the Titans game on August 28th last year. And I was always telling everybody how it never rains when I sing. I would tell people, don't worry about it, it's not going to be a rain out. It doesn't rain. It just never did. Well, this time, it came down in buckets. You can actually watch the performance on my YouTube channel. Type in Tennessee Titans on the YouTube channel. It's also on my Facebook page. Anyhow, the rain was coming down, the wind picked up, and the rain was also pelting the microphone, so you could hear like little pops and stuff like that going on. So I would say that might have been kind of difficult. The other time it was also really difficult was I was saying at Angel Stadium, which you guys are kind of aware what that is. For some reason, the reverb and the delay was so long. I had to focus so hard on what was coming right out of my mouth rather than what I was hearing, because I could swear that. By the time I was driving home after I sang the anthem, it was literally when people started hearing what I had said. It was such a long delay.
Wow.
We just got a message on the chat room from a lady in Indiana. She wants to know, when it was pouring down rain, how did you keep your hair looking so good? What's the trick for that?
That was a miracle. I have no idea. But I will tell you, after I looked like a drowned rat. So after I got up into the booth, I was like, oh boy. Thank God it wasn't like raining the entire time. It just started literally when I started singing. You could see it start happening.
That's incredible.
You have lit up the board, so to speak, where emails are pouring in. You're doing a great job. I can't cover all the emails.
Where did I sing in Indiana? It was near Gary. It was South Shore. It was supposed to be the air show. She might remember this because they had such torrential, horrible downpours. They had a lot of rain, too. I was supposed to sing the air show, but we changed it to a car show. See if she knows what I'm talking about.
Well, you're really adept on your feet. Part of being an adventurer, and we know that you love to travel, as Yoda and I do, and extensive travel, which we encourage others to do. But you really know how to take the most out of it, and still keep a smiling face. What inspired you, like in your family, to always make the most out of a difficult situation?
I have to credit my mom. She was amazing, an amazing woman. She passed away 3 years ago, and she was just one of those people that always had some type of life lesson. And what's funny is you think when somebody leaves this earth, you know, you're going to miss her, of course, and I miss her a lot. But one thing that happened is all of the things that she taught me came to me. They still come to me every day. I don't think there's a day that goes by where I don't think of something that she taught me or impressed on me. And you know, really, you're always looking for the positive. You're always looking for something good about somebody. She used to even tell me, and I'm coming from New York and I live in LA, and she used to say, don't get upset when somebody cuts you off. Don't get road rage or anything, because you have no idea. God forbid that person is racing past you is because like their wife or somebody else is in a hospital and they got to get to them. And I always remember things like that. It sounds funny, but it makes you look for something good rather than, not that that's a good situation, but rather than get mad at somebody, you're always looking for the good things. So I credit my mom, and she really had a huge impact on me. And so with that, I'll tell parents. I mean, I'm not a parent, but I will tell parents who are getting frustrated with their teenagers or whatever, and you think they're not listening to anything that you're telling them. I promise you they are, so don't let up.
I was the luckiest guy in the world, Janine, with parents. Grandmother lived with us in a multi-generation household. A little anti-Maine, but I couldn't have had it better. I just had to go adventure in the Air Force. You don't have an accent. What did you do with your New York accent?
I don't. If you get me mad, you can try to get me upset and it'll come out.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I learned how to articulate. Granted, I've had to go to all 50 states, and sometimes people look at me like, what did you just say? What did you ask for? So you learn a little bit to, I say in New York we don't have the letter R in the alphabet. Typically you just don't enunciate that. But I've learned how to add that back in.
Our sister magazine, themagnifiedview.com, founding editor is named Janorama. She grew up in Springfield, Illinois. Believe it or not, that's a southern accent. And starting a stunning executive career, she worked hard at getting rid of that deep South accent. Interesting. I don't hear that in Janine, do you at all, right?
No, I don't. Yoda and Backpack here, we do pride ourselves on being regional accents experts, and we are pretty good. We have a very strong record of really picking up on it. And, you know, it's one of the wonderful things when you crisscross America, you really start noticing. I grew up in Knoxville, Tennessee, which is kind of a middle-sized town now. At the time, it was more small town, but that's kind of like a border state, I guess you'd say. But I had a much stronger accent when I lived there, but I spent 14 years in Atlanta, which is really the capital of the South. It's like the New York of the South, so that really kind of got that away pretty much. But your singing is really beautiful, and it's really incredible what you're doing to bring all of this back. We're from the generation, or I am, and Yoda, when we had 3 channels on the TV, if we had TVs. I know Yoda had radio growing up, but at the very end of every one of the channels, when they sign off at 11 or midnight, they'd always play the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, and so that was the sign off. We would love to hear more of that and more exposure to that. Our nation needs a lot of that right now.
Yeah, I think that was awesome. Yes, the traveling was fun and singing in front of huge crowds, but a lot of times it was the downtime where I'd be having conversations. Obviously, when you're on a plane or you're sitting in a restaurant by yourself, people ask you why you're, where you're from and why you're in this particular area. A lot of times I had these conversations with people, and I would tell them what I was doing, and they would sit back and listen and say, I got to talk to my kids about the reason why we sing the national anthem. I remember I was sitting next to a stewardess who was deadheading, they call it, she was sitting next to me rather than working the flight. And she was a grandma, and she said, it's funny, she goes, I taught my kids to respect the national anthem, and to put their hands on their heart, to stand up and to sing the words. She goes, and I know my grandchildren don't know why we're doing that. she's like, I'm going after this flight. I'm calling my daughter up and I'm going to tell her to have a conversation with them. And, that's what it's about. I think it's not necessarily like you shouldn't, like, if you have to back somebody in the head with something you do, like, you have to stand up and you have to respect them. Somebody's going to want to. But if you give them a reason and an experience, like for me, meeting all these men and women who put their lives on the line, I've met people who have Medal of Honors and Purple Hearts, and they're the most humble people, and you are massively inclined once you have that experience with them to give them honor because they deserve it. So I think more so exposing those people is understanding that people need to have. So
yeah, I agree, and I agree wholeheartedly. I have to bring this up. There's been some recent shows of our President Obama, which we could never imagine, where we've had the national anthem and he doesn't hold his hand on his heart, and that has been circulating around the internet. We're just really kind of shocked. We never could imagine to have a president who won't put his hand on his heart.
Yeah, it's a shame, and I think if we take a minute and just say we don't have to rush, no matter how important you are. No matter what you've done, you still need to take that time. And hopefully, maybe somebody will hear this that'll change their mind and take one person at a time.
Amen.
Has Janine written a book, or is she writing one back then?
How's your progress on writing a book and creating an album?
Yeah, I am working on the book. I'm probably, although some people have said I'm pretty much done already, I think I'm about halfway done. And so I'm writing a book about the journey. And if there are any publishers out there, just let me know. And I'm working on potentially. I haven't decided yet what I'm exactly going to do. So I may put an album out with patriotic songs. Kind of figuring things out, but I definitely know I would like to actually get into some hosting. I think it would be very fun to show some more segments about great Americans across the country, show how amazing this country is, and let people kind of get like a insider's look at all the different places that I've even been or haven't been yet, but would love to kind of invite people along the journey to explore.
Well, we're excited. We're going to hold that thought. We're going to take a short break and talk about ImpactAnalytics.com, one of our dear friends.
ImpactAnalytics.com out of Florida is run by Tim Kalin. Tim and I met personally a long time ago with the Marine barracks bombing and the U.S. Embassy bombing in Beirut. Tim runs Impact Analytics that I'm urging the audience in the strongest terms to take a look at. There's something there for everybody, and you can make a buck honestly and straight up and help the country along by contacting Tim at ImpactAnalytics.com. Once more, ImpactAnalytics.com.
Our friend Tim also has another website. He's just put a labor of love in. It's called PunchingBagPosts.com. It's a consortium of all the greatest trending conservative patriotic types of news all over the internet. It's an incredible work, and please check out PunchingBagPost.com. Voices of Global Freedom Radio, MagnifiedView.com. We're interviewing Janine Stange, who is the National Anthem girl. She's performed the National Anthem in all 50 states. We just got a text or email from Texas, Austin. They want to know, when did you start singing it, and how long did, from that point on, the date, and when did you complete all 50 states?
I started July 3rd, 2012. I had about 10 states already down, and my official sort of kickoff was there in Florida for the Tampa Yankees game. And like I said, that was like state 1, that was about state 10. I finished August 28th, 2014. I sang for the Tennessee Titans versus Minnesota Vikings. By the way, that person from Texas, Austin, Texas, was my stop in Texas. I sang for a boxing event.
Wow, that's incredible. And the venues that you've been, it's not a cul-de-sac with like 5 people. You've been performing in front of hundreds of thousands of people. And did you ever feel intimidated being in front of so many people?
No, I like it. I've gotten more of a charge when it's a larger crowd. And sang for NASCAR, sang for national television, things like that. But I've also loved singing. There have been some times where I've sung for really small events. So it's just all different experiences. So no, thankfully, I'm not somebody that's nervous. I used to be when I was a kid. I used to be very shy, but you can't be shy and do all this stuff.
Well, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and play your appearance at the Tennessee Titans National Football. Here we go.
Sing along.
Sing along.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Bravo,
Wow.
Janine.
Bravo.
Absolutely bravo, Janine.
If you listen really close, you could hear that rain pelting off the microphone. In fact, one of the football players, his name was Sean Phillips. He plays for he doesn't play for the Titans anymore. He got switched to the Colts. Anyhow, he walked up to me after I was finished and gave me one of those Gatorade towels so I could dry off. And
Wow.
I was going to go and hold it over his head, and he's tall enough where he could have held it over my head while it was pouring and I was singing. But I just thought that might be awkward. I was like, yeah, that's all right.
What a voice, Janine. My word. What a range.
Incredible.
Oh, thank you
What
very
else?
much. Thank you.
What else do you sing?
I sing.
What other
I can sing. America the Beautiful, Amazing Grace, God Bless America, all those types of songs. I also have a couple of albums out as well. So it's not just, although the last couple of years, that's all I've really sung. I've just focused 100% on that. But I sing other things as well. People can get my stuff on iTunes.
Where can we get the album?
You can go to iTunes. Actually, what might be easier, you go to nationalanthemgirl.org. You can pretty much find everything there. My Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram. You can click where it says download this song from iTunes. It'll take you right to the store. So the website's easiest.
Say the website again, please.
nationalanthemgirl.org.
Good. I'd like an album.
Yeah, we'd love it. We also
if people want me to record a whole patriotic one, I will.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're all looking forward to that. We desperately need that in these times. One of the things when you go to nationalanthemgirl.org, which we just did play the video, you could see the rain coming down, and your hair still looks awesome through all that. Really
I'm very happy about that because that video got a lot of views, and if I looked really funny with my hair, I would have been embarrassed.
I've heard, Janine, with a delay, that most people that sing that wear plugs in their ears so they don't hear themselves with a delay. Is that true?
You can do that. I don't like that because I feel like it makes you focus on that there's something in your ears. So even right now I can hear a delay, but if I'm listening, I'm just hearing what's coming out of my mouth rather than what else is going on inside of my ears.
Have you had professional teaching or coaching singing?
Well, my mom said my mom used to always say I was colleging for 9 months, and I developed my lungs because I screamed from when I was born. But I was classically trained, so I've done a lot of the arias and things like that. That is how I was trained back in high school and college.
I knew some professional opera singers in Milano at La Scala, the home of opera, and several of the gals had not had 5 minutes training.
Wow.
It's a gift they were born with, you know.
Yeah.
And these major big-time opera, you know.
Yeah. I will say this. It's a lot about drinking enough water, and it's not drinking water like right before you sing. It's just always staying hydrated. It's one of the best things I've ever learned.
Okay. Look at this board, would you? That's my word.
Our viewers and audience, we've seen you on numerous Fox News. If people Google National Anthem Girl, you've been on pretty much every talk show and Today Show and everything that you can mention. But how did you get on Fox News?
An absolute miracle. Let me tell you. People used to ask me, they still sometimes do, like, who's your agent and your publicist and who got you all these news things? It was God. I was just doing everything I possibly could to promote the fact that the anthem was turning 200 and created dialogue about how important the song is and where I was in different places, across the country. And one day I was in Los Angeles. I was home for a little while, and I saw somebody with a verified tweet, a verified account on Twitter, retweet one of my tweets. Stop saying the word tweet a lot. But what happened was it was one of the reporters on Fox and Friends who saw what I was doing, asked if I had something that I was documenting the journey. Within, I'd say, about maybe 2-3 weeks. It was actually about a year ago around this time. I remember it was around Easter. I flew out to New York and they had me on the show. So I didn't have any, have anybody working on that. It just happened, and I was very, very grateful because, let's see, when I guess I was in state 27. And I really didn't know how I was going to fund the rest of my journey. I'd used a lot of my savings, and all I knew was I was going to do it. And this is something very important for anybody out there who has a vision and a goal. Don't stop. Keep going. Things will start opening up. With every fiber of your being, you believe in the necessity of what you're doing. And I put an Indiegogo campaign together, and I am a nonprofit, so people are able to donate to what I do. And I launched it at midnight. Then that day, 6 hours later, I was on Fox News, and they were gracious enough to tell people to go to my website and help donate. And that is what got me literally the last dime got me to get into the State 50. It was an absolute miracle that all worked out like that. And like I said, I had no idea how I was going to do it. When I said I was going to sing in all 50 states, there wasn't like anybody saying, sure, there's a corporate sponsor that's going to do this. nothing but I say an all-American effort, because these amazing people who believed in how important it was came through and donated to help me.
What's coming the rest of this year, Janine? What are you up to now?
Oh, well, I'd love to keep singing the anthem and start to talk to people, younger Americans who would love to just hear a little bit about the journey and get inspired about how they can also do something great for America and for this country. So I'd love to start working on talking to schools, but also I have to work to make a living. So I would love to start hosting, do some TV hosting. I love to work on Fox, to be honest with you. I think that'd be great, but who knows?
We're going to recommend. We're going to recommend a friend here to you. We'll do it off air. He's in the publishing business and a lot more. I bet he can help, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. We can also look about, there's ways where you can have your own show, and you can interview guests, and we're happy to share some of the incredible guests that we've had. And it's really, to get going, it's really not that hard. We've been doing it for a while, but, there's a lot of front-end work, but we'd like to encourage people to become their own. You can do your own show fairly with all the technology. You can get it done.
Right. Yep.
So tell us about all the things.
Hard work,
That's great. We like that work ethic. So you received numerous thank you cards and many mementos as you went across our sea to shining sea, beautiful country. Tell us about some of the mementos that you got.
Yeah, well, you mentioned thank you cards, so let me say something about that really quick. That was one of the coolest things. I had printed up cards where people could come to my table after I sang the national anthem and write a thank you card that would go into a military care package. It was a Operation Gratitude. They have packages that go out to veterans as well as deployed military. So people right now, as we speak, are probably reading a card that was a result of somebody coming up to my table during one of these events, which was so much fun, but also to just watch. Sometimes you see veterans walk up to their, to the table, and they would write from their hearts these notes of gratitude to the people that are currently serving. It was just, I don't like to use the word mind-blowing, but it was definitely something where you would say, wow, this is something that you see the impact, and you see how genuine these people are. So that was just the thank you cards. And people still can actually, if they go to my Twitter page, or they just want to email me, admin, ADMIN, @nationalansthemgirl.org. I will send you 10 cards where you can also fill out cards to say thank you to somebody who is serving or has served. Send them back to me. I give you the mailing address to send it back, and we'll get them into thank you cards. So that's something you got. We'll get them into care packages. So that's something that anybody that wants to participate in what I did throughout the country, I'm still doing that as a function of my nonprofit. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, as far as mementos go, there's one in particular when I was in Montana. I'll never forget. This man came up to my table, as an older gentleman. He came up to my table, and he had tears in his eyes, and he said, thank you so much for what you're doing. And because he was so moved, I thought he was a veteran. I just thought he was. And I said, did you serve? And he said, no, but I regret it every day of my life. And it still gives me chills when I think of that. And I said, well, why? And he said, he was younger. When they all got out of school, all of his friends went to serve. He didn't, because he was getting married. He needed to make money for his family. And he said he watched all of his friends go off on this bus that was taking them to wherever they had to go for training. And he said that a lot of those guys didn't come back. And he felt that if he had gone, maybe he could help save their lives. Maybe they wouldn't have, so many of them wouldn't have died. So it was very, very sad. And what ended up happening, it was very windy that day. It was the 4th of July when I sang in Montana, Red Lodge, Montana. I had all the cards that people were filling out on my table, and I kept blowing around. He said, you know what? He said, you need a rock. So we left, and I just thought he was really going to come back. You know, I kind of forgot about it. And all of a sudden, he came back maybe about 15 minutes later, and he handed me this rock that was actually in the shape of a heart. And he said, "This is from Montana with love." And he put it on the, I started crying, and put it on top of the thank you cards so they wouldn't blow away. And I just felt like, in a way, it wasn't the rock, it was just the fact that he was so concerned about these cards, and he really, I felt like, got a little bit of peace from not being able to be there with those guys, but he was doing something to help, and I kept that. I still have that rock. I will never, ever let that go. And people say it's just a rock. No, it's not just a rock. It represents somebody's heart, and it was just a beautiful thing. So that was one of the things. I've also got like a lot of American flags that have been flown over capitals, state capitals, the actual nation's capital. I've got a lot of challenge coins, which are awesome. Like, I love those as well. So
I find we all serve in different ways. Civilians certainly serve in their way, as you do. You're touching a lot more lives than you could possibly be aware of, Janine. So you're doing patriotism, you're supporting our freedoms and liberty your way, as was the gentleman in Montana. Yeah, exactly. And it takes everybody.
It does take everybody. And it also is funny because there's little things you can do just in your area. You know, it doesn't mean you have to go throughout the country or things like that.
I'm older than a rock. I've been with special operations before it was named that. And the real spec op guys, the quiet professionals, the Rangers, Army Special Forces, Delta, SEALs, others, all say the same thing. They all say that they know guys and know gals that do a lot more than they do. That's interesting, isn't it? And they feel
it's because they're so humble.
Yeah. Their training levels are ridiculous. You know, the stuff they do would embarrass a lot of the movies. But they still feel sincerely that others do more, and they don't really feel superior to patriotic civilians like yourself. Really.
No, and
look at you.
There was I was in South Dakota, and there was a gentleman. He was in fatigue. He was holding to a color guard, and they had announced that there was a Purple Heart recipient. This was this man, and I remember looking at him because everybody started clapping, and I caught his eye just as everybody was standing up and clapping, and he gave me one of those, like, you know, if you're watching like one of those superhero movies like Superman, and he's not like sitting there waiting for everybody like to clap for him, but he just looked at me and he gave me one of those winks, like it's all good, don't worry about it, I don't really need these people clapping. And I'll never forget that. It was one of those snapshots in time, and it really encompasses what a lot of these, I would say all that I never look for glory. They're always willing. And anytime I say to people, you know, what was it like? You know, they all say, I'd do it all over again. Do it all over again.
Well, that's wonderful. As you've traveled across America, and would you say it took about 3 years for you to complete all 50 states?
I'd say during the concentrated effort, it was about two. I mean, I could actually say it took about 7 years. That's how long I've been marinating this concept. So, yeah, I guess it's 6 years too.
So, what are some of the memorable experiences while you've traveled across our beloved country?
There are so many. Like I said, there have been so many conversations that I've had that were memorable. There was a time when I was also in Montana. I was flying next to a guy who was in the Army, but then he ended up later on after retiring, he bought 2 planes, T-34s. We were talking, I told him I was singing for the rodeo. He said he was doing a flyover for the parade, and he offered for me to do the flyover with him. Well, little did I know not only did I get to accompany him in the plane to do the flyover, he let me fly the plane. We did 2 rolls, and
Wow.
we flew over the Airtube Mountains, and then it started getting a little hot in there, so he said, let's just open the window. So we opened the window for the rest of the ride home. Now, I will advise people, if you are going to be singing or speaking after you've done one of these kind of little propeller type of planes, give yourself a little time, because you do feel a little queasy if it's the first time you've done it. But that was really an amazing memory for me. He was really funny because when he go ahead, what?
Sorry, Janine. For audience benefit, the T-34 is a trainer for the military. It's a hot propeller-driven thing, and I can't imagine rolling in it if you weren't trained for that. My word.
We did it twice because I was trying to capture it on my iPhone, and I was like, I don't think I got it because my phone actually shut off. I think it's, I might be saying this wrong. It's the centrifugal force. The pressure, I think, stopped the iPhone from actually filming. So we tried it again, and it didn't work. But when he let me fly, go ahead.
He had 2 of them, huh?
Yeah, he had one. And you can see it on my Facebook page, or I'll send you some of the photos. If you go to my Facebook page, click photo albums, and click Montana, you'll get to see all the flights, all the pictures, as well as a couple of videos from the flight. But it was really funny because when he was teaching me how to fly, he was letting me go for a while, and literally I was going in circles. So I finally looked up at him and said, "Can you straighten me out?" And he goes, "I was wondering when you were going to ask. You were doing really steep curves. I was like, what did you do me?"
I have to, Yoda and we call them Yoda Dotes and Backpack-A-Dotes. I have to put this in. I coined this in, I wrote a diary a while ago, and I keep rewriting it, but my Backpack-A-Dote is when it's time for me to pass away, I'd rather have 10,000 stories than 10,000 in my bank account. So that's my Backpack-A-Dote. We all 3 of us share such a love for being out there and the stories and the people you meet. I spent 4 years traveling across the U.S., and I could go on and on about all the incredible people and stories that I've met, different events. For me personally, one of the most incredible ones was actually and I didn't plan it, but I was at Washington, D.C. on Memorial Day when they had over 50,000 motorcycle veterans from all over the country that were driving all around the lawn. And, that was just such a wonderful thing. What was your experience? Did you have a Washington, D.C. singing experience?
Yeah, I sang once for a corporate event, and then I was actually asked to go back. I sang for all the different war memorials with an honor flight. So there was a guy that had heard me, who had seen me on the Today Show. He called me up a couple of days later. He was like, "You don't know me, but you're going to be singing at the honor flight that I'm having." After September 17th last year, and I was like, okay. It just so worked out because I was already in Maryland because I sang on the 14th. They changed my flight each day the next couple of days, and I'll tell you what, it was a priceless experience. So I sang the World War II Memorial, Korean War Memorial, which is amazing. I didn't sing at the Vietnam Memorial. That was the following day. But I also sang Arlington. There was a Gold Star family that they had a ceremony for, and I tell you, I've never had tears literally shooting out of my eyes in Section 60, looking at those tombstones where you're seeing these people who were born after you and died before you. And there was a family there. We laid their wreaths down, and what was amazing is when I started singing Amazing Grace, I actually posted this on my Facebook page today, so you can go to my Facebook page and see this performance. All of the veterans that were there, these are 90-year-olds, they're standing, they're singing along Amazing Grace. It was so amazing. And thank God I had them singing with me because it just was so much easier. Because it was such a hard thing to be doing this, and watching the family and the faces there. So I got to do that, and I also sang at the Air Force Memorial for it was for a Gold Star mother who was having she organized a ceremony, and I got to sing at that as well. And again, just the people you meet and the stories you hear, you'll never forget it.
We would love to hear your amazing Grace rendition. Is that part of your album?
Yeah, it will be. So, if I decide to do an album, I definitely will put that on there. But you can listen to it on my Facebook page because that's actually up today, ironically. You can go to there.
I guess I misunderstood earlier. Do you have an album out?
I have a number of albums, but they're regular. They're not the one that we talked about where I was possibly record a bunch of patriotic songs. But I do have the Star Spangled Banner that's out on iTunes. People can get that.
Okay. Look at this board. I can't cover the questions, really.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of questions. One of the huge questions has been, as you've really connected with so many Americans, and part of Voices of Global Freedom Magnified View is to get people off the couch and just get out there and meet people. You know, we want to hear these good stories that you're doing, and a lot of really hard-working people are doing to get outside their hometown. You know, the majority of Americans stay in their hometown their whole life and never even leave. But what did you learn? What are some of the takeaways about what you learned about Americans?
You know, it's funny you asked that because when I said this was a talk on Fox and Friends, they asked me what they had to do on, and I said, America is beautiful, and Americans are beautiful. I think it's, everybody wants to go travel overseas. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I will tell you, you take that drive from Wyoming to Montana, from Spokane to Wallace, Idaho, and you get to see Coeur d'Alene and all these oh my gosh, breathtaking, the mountains. Now, granted, I grew up in New York, so I'm used to skyscrapers and all that urban side of things, but to see these fields of green and purple mountains, it's true. When I flew to Alaska, it was breathtaking to see the mountains. In fact, there's this. If you go through my different photo albums and you see the pictures from Alaska, I got this one shot with my iPhone. Unfortunately, I didn't have a camera crew. I wish I did. Rainbow over mountains. You can't make this stuff up. This is just a gorgeous country, and I do tell people all the time, pick a state and go and explore it. You won't be disappointed. You really won't.
We just got an email from Spokane, Washington. They want to know, and they specifically were talking about Roseanne Barr and recently Motley Crue saying the Star Spangled Banner horribly off of, it was just not a good rendition. What are your thoughts about people when they're singing off melody?
Well, first I will say, when I was younger, I loved to try to make the song my own. But what I say now is it is not my song. It's our song. And you have to do justice to that melody. It's unfortunate that people have such publicity for the times that they're singing it in a way that is not optimal. I wish that there was more publicity when somebody just said, I'm just going to sing it the right way. And that's, I think, what we should highlight as a country. And that's what deserves the airtime. That's what deserves the conversation. So, it's unfortunate, but hopefully this little conversation we're having now will inspire more people.
From the look of our board, I'll bet it has already. That's my word.
Well, good. Tell them all to follow me on Facebook and Twitter.
We are.
We just got another question from Phoenix, Arizona. They want to know, we talked a lot about on the show about different events and travels. What are some of the major venues that you've sang at?
I sang for NASCAR. I sang for the Cincinnati Reds, for the Orioles. I sang for they're asking major events, right? Understand that correctly?
Yes. Right.
I sang for Monster Jam. I sang for a lot of Pro Bull Riders events, which are huge events if anybody's been to those. I sang for let's see, Major League Baseball. Let me think. Did I say the Reds? Oh, the Detroit Tigers. I also sang for the USS Missouri, which that's major as it gets right there. It was awesome. I'm trying to think of some other ones. A boxing match, and they're from Spokane. Oh, no, you said they're from Arizona. I sang at the Orphanage Theater for that. I was actually Marcus Luttrell's Patriot Tour, where I sang for that. Hockey. I sang for the Islanders. I also sang for the Utah Grizzlies. Everybody's from Utah.
Believe it or not, we are about out of time. Where in the world did it go? We want to get you back on, Janine, quickly. We'd love to have you back on rather quickly.
Love it. Sure.
We'll talk with you off air. We've got a lot to talk about. I'm going to personally hustle you out of an album, of course, among other things. We've got some context for you. A couple minutes left. What's the takeaway from your wonderful accomplishments? What would you like to leave the audience with?
I'd say think hard about what it is that you have that's a gift, a talent, that you can contribute to this country. There are so many people that need encouragement. There are so many people around. I tell people, if you look at somebody, smile, take that effort, because you don't know what that's going to mean to somebody. So I know it's not necessarily completely patriotic of a comment, but it really is, because, like you said before, it starts with us. If we want to complain about this country, then be ready to be doing something to make it better. There's enough people pointing fingers. They always say, "What, you've got three pointing back at you." So I could have gone on this tirade about how everybody sings the anthem horribly, or how I can't stand things that are going on in the country, but instead I tried to do something that was positive. I think if we all inject positivity in our own world, in our own community, we are going to start going in a better direction.
So what are all the ways people can find you and book you?
Sure. Go to my website, nationalanthemgirl.org, and click the contact link if you need to send me an email. There's also an office number as well. You could follow me on Twitter. My Twitter page is The Anthem Girl, TAG Anthem Girl. And then my Facebook is National Anthem Girl.
So we've just got a couple minutes left. What are your plans in 2015?
That's a good question. Well, I am, like I said, I am working on a book. I'm working on finding out different things that I can do, because there are a lot of people that I've been connected with throughout this journey, and I just don't want to walk away from it and say, okay, that's great, I sang in all 50 states. That's all. I definitely want to keep doing something to help promote patriotism. So
I'm confident you will. Well, you've got the highest marks from our conservative patriotic audience, Janine.
Well, thank you all for listening.
They're a tough audience from time to time. We want to get you back on real soon. I'll call you early in the week. Happiest Easter, gal.
Happiest Easter.
Happy Easter to all of you.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Energy Efficiency Pros, EE Pros, solutions that save you money. Are you a commercial business looking to reduce costs on your energy bill? Replacing traditional light bulbs with LED results in tremendous savings every month. Commercial, industrial, and manufacturing facilities from coast to coast are saving up to 90% on their skyrocketing costs of energy. Energy costs are rising every month, but using EE Pros lighting saves money, time, and will bring you happier employees and customers. For a free audit and evaluation of your facility, contact or email Don Arrigo, President of EE Pros, at 480-585-0000. 480-9161. I say again, 480-585-9161. Tell Don that Backpack of Voices of Global Freedom Radio referred you. Yoda, have you had some experience with this?
I have. I spoke with two of his customers. Both were large parking lots. EE Pros serves the commercial side of the business. They're saving stunning amounts of money. Also yesterday, day before, President Obama came up with another brainstorm to do with the environment that's even going to further raise energy costs. So EE Pros documents they do save 80 and 90% off the energy bill. My word.
Yeah, our audience, go visit www.eepros.com. I say again, www.eepros.com. We are back with Voices of Global Freedom, MagnifiedView.com. This is an all-star patriotic 2015 Greatest Patriotic Show of the Year. Now we have our second guest, Tom L'Italien. He'll be calling in. He's on. Looks like he's online right now, and we have some other callers that are calling in. Tom, how are you doing today? Area code 682. If you can go ahead and say your handle.
That would be Stryker.
Okay, well. Oh, Stryker. Hey, Stryker, how are you doing? Stryker's with Leading Edge Radio Network.
I'm doing well. Go ahead and grab Tim's call, and I'll enjoy the show and listen in.
All right, great to have you on. All right, so we have Tom L'Italien, who is similar to the National Anthem girl that we talked about. He's already crisscrossed the United States of America, bringing attention to veterans and many other projects that he's working on. We're excited to premiere him here and talk to him about how we can help veterans and the numerous things he's doing. On June the 15th, he's going to be doing another trip across America, and we're excited to hear about all his plans. How are you doing, Tom?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great to have you on Voices of Global Freedom. If you will, please give us some of your background.
Sure. My last name is Tom L'Italien. It's Italian with an L in front of it, so it's easy to pronounce. I am a 65-year-old man who was mostly born and raised in Massachusetts, up around the Peabody area. Went to high school in Peabody. Grew up with 7 brothers, no sisters. My mother was an absolute angel and a saint, and she was about 5'1" and ruled the roost. 4 of my brothers were in the military, and I'm the third oldest out of the 8. And my brother Albert was in Vietnam. Another brother in the Army and 2 in the Navy. But I saw the effects of war mostly on my brother Albert. I am happily married for 17 years to my wife Lauren. I have 2 children and 2 stepchildren and 4 grandchildren. Currently, I'm a bus driver, and I took the position as a bus driver so that I could train in between dropping students off and picking them up, and for the bike ride. Belong to an organization called the Vetran Foundation, and our mission is to eliminate or reduce veteran suicide, plus also help veterans' families with the struggles of being a veteran family, and whatever that means, either having somebody overseas fighting a war, or somebody who struggled with a suicide of a veteran, a son or a daughter, and so that probably sums me up pretty good, I think.
Heck of a background, Tom. You're a whippersnapper. I'm 77. Still kicking. How'd you learn to professionally ride a bicycle like that?
Oh, I'm not a professional bike rider. I'm just a kid who grew up in the street that liked to ride a bike, and I've always been athletic. I've done a couple of triathlons and always been, from probably the time of the announcement of my firstborn son, started to get in shape and stay in shape. So bike riding was something that I've always done.
We grew up on bicycles, of course, but it never occurred to me to cross the country in it. How'd you come by that idea?
Well, we as being a board member for the Teen Veteran Foundation, we have always, since its inception back in 2012, 2011, have focused on veteran suicide. And if you believe, as I do, in 1 Corinthians 19 about the Holy Spirit dwelling inside of your body, then what I'm about to tell you is easy to comprehend. On June 10th of 2013, wrestling with what I could do to help families and veterans, especially with suicide, the Holy Spirit at about 2 o'clock in the morning came to me and said that I was going to take a bike ride across the country to bring awareness to veteran suicide. Woke my wife up and said, "You wouldn't believe what just happened to me." And when I explained it to her, she said to me, "It looks like you're going for a bike ride." And I said, "Yeah, I am." Well, 11 days later, pulling a 100-pound trailer, I left Flagstaff, Arizona, and pedaled to Boston, Massachusetts.
My word.
Wow, so that's incredible.
So that's how it came about.
This is the Patriotic Show of 2015, and we are Yoda and Backpack, Voices of Global Freedom, MagnifyView.com. We encourage people to get off the couch and get out there and do things. And I know our audience, we've interviewed people who, like the National Anthem girl we just talked to, and other people who've run across America. I've come across so many people that have really bucked the trend of it's really living outside the comfort zone. What were some of the hardest living out of the comfort zone for you?
Well, it was easy doing it because I figured that it was a plan from God, and I was going to follow it. But what I didn't realize was what was going to confront me along the way. The first week, not having trained all year like I did in 2014 and what I'm doing now in 2015, the first week I was just hit with cramps because it was hot. It was 110 degrees out going across the country, and I wasn't prepared for the muscle cramps and the collapsing of. I was standing at a gas station in a little place in Arizona, I think called Holbrook, and I got hit with the cramps in the back of my legs, and I was muscle cramping all over my body, but the pain wasn't as severe until I got the back of the leg cramped up, and I fell to the ground, and there was a Navajo Indian standing there next to me, and he went into the variety store, came out and gave me a jar of pickle juice to drink. So I kind of quickly caught on that it was Pedialyte that I needed. So once I started taking Pedialyte, I was okay. Other things, state of Kansas, the winds were absolutely horrific and gust of 50-mile-an-hour winds. I wasn't used to that because the fields were wide open. So when the winds come across the prairie, they just pick me and the trailer up and blew it right out into the highway, and almost got run over by an 18-wheeler once. A couple hours later, got blown into a cornfield. Had to put myself back together and get my trailer out of there. And one time I had my head down pedaling, and I hit a tire that came off a tractor trailer, and that bounced me out into the highway, just getting missed by a few vehicles. And so those kind of things. Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, going over the Delaware Water Gap. I pedaled about 70 miles that day. I had about 20 miles left to go, and when I got to the bridge, they told me I couldn't go over on my bike, and the nearest way that I could get back over was a bike bridge, footbridge. They told me that I had to go back, and it was 16 miles. So I had to backtrack 16 miles to go over the bridge, and then I had another 36 miles to go before I stopped that night. That was a tester for me, because it was not only was it I didn't get in until 8:30 in the evening, starting at 6 o'clock in the morning, but there were a lot of mountains and hills that I had to get over, and pulling a trailer was difficult. And going into the mountains in Pennsylvania and New York, same thing. Pulling that trailer up was really difficult. So those are the kind of some of the things that I had been confronted. That build character, that you understand that. What was going through my mind was that if you give a mission to a veteran, he completes it. So there was no question about what my options were. My options were to complete it. So that's what I had to do.
That's great. We try to get backpack oats and yoded oats in there. You mentioned Pedialyte, which is really great for having electrolytes for this kind of heavy adventure, workout stuff. I have a story where I was in Tucson, Arizona, and my friend and I, we had biked all the way. It was about 115 degrees to this beautiful park area that they have. We did about 17 miles, and when we got there, the Park Service was like, "You're not going anywhere," when they saw us, because. And they told us a true story, though. There's a couple German guys. They were real young guys, like 21, and they were hiking in that where there's all that beautiful desert stuff. And they had plenty of water. They were drinking tons of water, but they ended up dead because they had no electrolytes. And, they're young, and when you're in your 20s, you think you're going to live forever. But as you know, when we get in our 40s and 60s and 70s, as we all are, you start learning that. But it's really key, the electrolytes. That can save lives. When people hear that, they need to know that.
Absolutely. I spoke to a young fellow that was that's going to be leaving in November to go cross country. He's a Green Beret, and that's the first bit of advice I gave him was you need to make sure that you have your electrolytes, your Pedialyte, because that will affect you the most. I remember being about 25 miles out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, I ran out of water. No shade, 110 degrees, and a state trooper pulled up behind me. And he said to me, "What are you doing? We've been following you for 4 days on this highway." And I said, "Well," I explained to him what I was doing. He immediately gave me a $50 donation. And I said, I ran out of water. So he opened up the trunk of his car and he gave me a gallon of ice water. So I poured some on me, and I drank the rest, and that got me to Albuquerque. Because I didn't know what to do at that point in time.
What do you carry in that trailer you're pulling around?
Well, my wife, I'm blessed with a wife that is pretty smart about nutrition, and I carry the statute of responsibility with me. I carry 50, 100 bags of nuts and berries, and protein candy bars, sleeping bag, spare chain, spare 26 spare tubes for the bike because we get flat tires, spare tire, let's see what else. And as we got along, it got a little lighter, but there were a lot of other things inside there. So I think that was the extent of what I had in there.
A lot of people that do similar on motorcycles and bicycles are followed by a van. They keep a lot of stuff in a van, spare parts, and a repair type guy. Had you thought of that?
Yeah, but we didn't have time. You figure that on June 10th we decided to leave, and we left 11 days later on the 21st of June. There was no way that we could get anybody to do that with us. The second year we had problems because we were trying to get an RV. There wasn't any, RV, manufacturing company or people that sales RVs that wouldn't lend us one because they really didn't know us. So planning was more difficult, and we really couldn't announce that we were going until we could lock that down, and that just didn't happen. So my wife followed me in the car, but it was, it wasn't something where she was following me the whole time.
Good safety.
And this year I'll be going solo.
Yeah. Great safety. Do you ride freeways and interstates?
Yes. As a matter of fact, it was really interesting. I was in New Mexico and I was pulling the trailer, and I was on Route 40 out of Arizona. I got into 25 going up to Santa Fe, and then back routes 56 and 54 and 38 going through Kansas and Illinois and Indiana and Ohio. But I was pulling the trailer on Route 25, and a police officer came up behind me and pulled me over and said that they had complaints that I had a child in the back of the trailer. So she made me open it up just to make sure that there wasn't a child back there.
Welcome.
But yeah, I did. I traveled highway.
We just got an email from it was from Northern California, Sacramento. They wanted to know, how much weight did you lose when you did the trip?
I lost 32 pounds the first year, and I really wasn't overweight going into it. And last year I sort of overtrained and probably lost about 20 pounds, but the first year I lost about 32 pounds.
Wow. That's a lot. So having not served in the military, what has caused you to help veterans?
Well, it doesn't take much. I think to get motivated when you're looking at, each day we lose between 22 and 30 young men. I mean, my children are older than some of these veterans that are committing suicide. And before I even get into that, what I'd like to, I spoke to a couple of Gold Star mothers today, and I just want to honor some of their children because Jesse Burkle is his birthday today. He committed suicide when he was 20, and he'd be 32 years old today. So I want to put a shout out to Lisa Parris, his mother, and tell her that she's a hero. Her son is a hero. To Tammy Pulaski, whose son was with me the whole ride, the first year, 2013. Martha Moore, her son Douglas, and April Thompson is another, Gold Star, Blue Star mother, who just celebrated the anniversary of her son. And I wish I knew more and could say more, but I just wanted to let those mothers know that I really appreciate the sacrifice, and I understand the hole in the heart. So anyway, sitting there, I just couldn't go on anymore, not doing it. So you don't have to be a veteran to understand that your freedom comes from the sacrifice of those, not only our current veterans, but I can't tell you how many World War II veterans I met going across the country the first 2 years that it was just an honor for me. So it is an honor for me to do this. So I don't think you have to be a veteran to understand that there's a crisis going on in the country, and that we all of us, civilians, as well as ex-military, need to stand up and do what we can do, and that's why we have a suicide prevention program, as well as trying to bring awareness and recognition. And what surprised me the first year was that most communities that I shopped in didn't have any idea how many veterans we were losing per day. And they were absolutely staggered when I talked about the fact that since 2004 we've lost 90,000 veterans to suicide.
Wow.
In this country. And that's a matter of national security, the way I look at it is. And, you know, so it wasn't a leap for me to say I needed to do something.
So how many members are on the Team Veteran Foundation board?
That's a good question. We have about 10 or 12 dedicated volunteers who have been with us for about 3 years now. The president of the organization his name is R.J. Stratton. He is 23 years Navy, Chief Petty Officer. Without him, I think that with his integrity and his drive to help solve this problem, I think that we wouldn't be as far along as we are right now. And, you know, Michelle and I been with us for 3 years. Sam Morganti, who was the chef for the president, George W. Bush, is a member of our team. Doug Weber is our 501c3 specialist that helps us with all of our paperwork, and he is a diehard guy that just keeps going with us. And 4 Gold Star mothers on our team. And, you know, we have a great director in New York City named Dave Weiner, who's an incredible man. People, you know, up in Utah, and so that pretty much describes our board. Great volunteers, incredible people.
Hold that thought. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with Tom Italian, riding across America, supporting veterans.
Hello. Great guest today, Backpack. My word, didn't it?
Yeah, it is. Great show.
What'd you think of the gal singing the Star-Spangled Banner, brother?
That was amazing, and she was pouring down rain. You could see the camera that was doing her video was covered with rain, and despite all the adversity and our new friend biking across the U.S., they go through so much. They're not sitting around drinking a six-pack and watching the widescreen TV. They're out doing stuff. That's what we love, right?
Speaking of Stryker, our caller earlier that we gave short shrift to, audience, we've recently hooked up with the syndicate that we're proud to be on. It's headed up by a fellow nicknamed Stryker. Notice in elite units, we all have nicknames. Some we come by honestly, and Stryker certainly comes by his. He was a professional golfer at one time. He's a businessman, an entrepreneur. He has just started a network, a syndicate of a whole bunch of radio shows. Conservative Talk Family radio show is one channel. Music is another, a Christian channel, another music channel, and one Backpack and I are vitally interested in. It'll be a combined military, intelligence, special operations, and law enforcement channel. So I hope I didn't offend Stryker earlier. What do you think, back?
Well, we're going to have him on shortly. He's waiting patiently online.
Oh, is he? Bring him on a second.
So, Stryker, brother, how are you doing?
Hey, doing great. I was just getting into Tom and what his organization is doing. I apologize for the fact that Stryker has been stricken with a bad allergy here, but it's not like I'm dodging bullets or something. I can handle the allergy.
Have your wife give you some of those mints.
I think that is a wonderful idea. I will do that as soon as she returns from a brief shopping trip to take care of my boy's need for pizza.
We need to talk off air, if you will, about Jeanette, the gal that was on earlier. We're going to refer her to you. Our Janorama, founding editor-in-chief, MagnifiedView.com, is the creative one among us. She's got some great ideas for you and Jeanette, the national anthem lady. Did you happen to hear her song?
Once again, you guys, I have to apologize. I was out supervising the mowing of the grass by my 16-year-old and 12-year-old. I did mow 3 strips today, and I tried to set the example. I mowed the 3 hardest. I finished the rest. They ran out of gas. Stryker went to go get some gas.
And you got some allergies, too.
Oh, well, I don't normally, but I do now.
Well, we're getting enormous encouragement about shows joining your wonderful network, brother. Roy's off to the broadcast network thing next week or week after, you're aware.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exciting. The National Association of Broadcasters, we've been researching it. It really is the #1 show in the entire country, so we'll be glad to broadcast live Leading Edge Radio Network with Stryker and whoever else. We're going to cross paths with a lot of incredible people. Really excited about this event.
No question about it, as we are as well.
We're back to our bicyclist, Tom. Thanks, Stryker.
I got to give Stryker a quick backpack anecdote. If you can go to Rite Aid or a local pharmacy, there's a product called Fisherman's Friend, and it's really good to help get your throat going. If you will, just give it a try. Fisherman's Friend, and giving a free ad for them, but it's a good product.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. I'll take all the help I can get, gentlemen. God bless you all. I hope you each have a wonderful Easter. Thank you for having me on the program, and really enjoying hearing about Tom's organization.
Happy Easter, brother.
Happy Easter. God bless.
Thank you. God bless you, gentlemen. I'll be happy.
All right, great to hear you. We do have a caller, area code 618. We'll go ahead and take the call. Area code 618, if you'd like to make a comment, speak your mind.
Yes, sir. I would like to know how you can support the foundation that Tom was talking about.
Great call.
Great question.
Caller, thanks for the call. We're about to ask him. Any other ideas on your part? Any other comment you'd like to make?
Our caller dropped, but Tom, so you got the question, right?
Not quite.
He just wants to know how he can support the Team Veteran Foundation.
He can go to our webpage, VetranFoundation.org, and there's a donate button, and you can donate there. So I think that's probably the best and quickest way.
All right, great. So you've worked with numerous Gold Star families. Tell us what it's been like and what you're doing with the Gold Star families as you're traveling across the U.S.
Well, that's a great question. And I'll just say that it is an honor for me to speak to Gold Star parents and Blue Star parents. Because the way I look at it is, I honor the fact that Blue Star parents lost their son or daughter in the war, and I also honor the fact that Blue Star parents, lost their sons when they came home because of their action in the war. And what most Gold Star parents have accepted is that a loss is a loss. So it doesn't, whether it's a Blue Star or Gold Star, they've lost the child. So what we came up with was what we call the Flags of Honor. And this year, as I'm pedaling across, the country on my bicycle, we are going to circulate flags in each state and notify Gold Star and Blue Star parents that we'd like for them to sign these flags, sign the names of their children, their date of birth, their anniversaries on the flag, and then we're going to take those flags, and the flag will have the name of the state on it. The flag will have the Team Veteran Foundation logo. It'll have the Alive program, ALIVE, put across it. And it will have the Flag of Honor in big red letters. So we're going to coordinate with the Gold Star and Blue Star parents, the American Legion riders, and the American Legion National Organization have allowed us to make contact with the American Legion riders, and we're coordinating it now with emails being sent out. We're setting up a blog so that we can connect the riders with their mothers, so that the riders will know, what the mothers will know what date that the riders are going to be in their location, in their area, and they can come down and sign the flags. Those flags will be delivered, hopefully, up in Augusta, Maine, where I'm going to end my route this year, and that those flags will then be handed to a representative from the Responsibility Foundation, and those flags will fly forever at the base of the Statue of Responsibility. So it's a huge effort to get, I've received messages from Gold Star and Blue Star parents that they can't wait for the flag to come through their community, through their state. I had one parent told me that she'd drive 4 hours to sign the flag.
Wow.
Because I was kind of thinking that maybe they won't accept it. But what I'm hearing and the response I'm getting on my Facebook page is that they're really anticipating and looking forward to it. So I've been in contact with the chairperson of the Gold Star Association of America, and also I'm waiting to hear back from the Blue Star representative that covers the country. So the American Legion riders, I think it's an honor to have them take on something like this and carry those flags to each state. It's so emotional for me to think about those guys driving those flags in each state in this country. Those of your listeners may not know what the Statue of Responsibility is about, so I don't have a problem explaining it if it's okay.
Sure.
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Well, I'll say up front that the sculptor of the Statue of Responsibility, Gary Lee Price, is a good friend of mine. I met him a couple of years ago, and we've always supported the foundation. As a matter of fact, in each trip across the country, I carried a 17-inch version of the statue with me, and I spoke. When I spoke each night, I explained the statue and its relationship to the veteran community. I mean, who accepts responsibility greater than a veteran? to defend this country, its constitution, and the freedoms that we hold so dear. And the fit, to me, was, it was a blessing from God. So, the Statue of Responsibility was born out of really a book written by Viktor Frankl called Man's Search for Meaning. And Viktor Frankl, was a survivor of Auschwitz. He was a psychiatrist. And in the 60s and 70s, he toured this country and talked about the Statue of Responsibility. Gary Lee Price put his words and his meaning together in this most incredible monument called the Statue of Responsibility. And what it is, it's a military grip that's grabbing from wrist to wrist, a left hand and a right hand, and it's going to be built from elbow to elbow. It'll be the same height as the Statue of Liberty, be about 300-400 feet tall. And it's going to be built in part to honor veterans because, like I said, who accepts responsibility greater? There isn't anybody that accepts responsibility greater than veterans when they go out and defend the country.
Actually, Tom, as a veteran, Tom, I served in 2 services. As a veteran, to answer your question, however rhetorical, guys and girls like you, veterans, wives, and kids, have that awesome degree of responsibility also. We're proud of you, really.
Thank you. I accept what I'm doing, understanding this as a great deal of responsibility to, as a 501c3 nonprofit organization, to live up to what our claim is and what our mission is. So I thank you for recognizing that. If people go to the Statue of Liberty, and you'll see a picture of the Statue of Responsibility, or you can go to the Statue of Responsibility .com or .org, I think you'll see. The equation is with liberty on the East Coast and responsibility on the West Coast, and that's where it's going to be, built on the West Coast. We enjoy our freedoms in between both of those statues because they mean so much for the sacrifice that was made by veteran families, especially for our freedom. And also responsibility is like gravity. It's there. Every decision that you make, every word that you speak, you have a responsibility to honor whatever you're doing or however you're speaking. I go to work and I'm responsible to my employer to do the best that I can do. Well, veterans do the same thing.
We just got an email from Kansas City, Kansas. They want to know more about what are the flags of honor and how will they get signed and transported across the United States?
Well, the flags of honor are our way of recognizing those soldiers that have been killed in action and those soldiers that have committed suicide after coming home. They will be transported by the American Legion riders, and what we're going to do is we're going to set up a central hub, we're going to set up a blog where Gold Star mothers and the American Legion riders will communicate. The riders will let the mothers and parents know, uncles and aunts, where that flag is going to be in their state on any given day. So on July 11th, let's say, the American Legion riders in the state of Kansas will, announce through the blog, because we're going to direct everybody to the blog. They'll announce that the flag will be in Hugoton, Kansas. And it will be there all day for those who are parents who are in the driving area to come down and sign those flags. We hope that the governors of each state announce the fact that we're going to be bringing the flags through the state. We hope that the news media, we hope the print media, television, radio, let people in the states know what exactly is going on. We want national attention to this, and we think that it should be that way. So
we just got a tweet from Governor of Ohio, and we saw that on Twitter that he tweeted out to you that welcome you and wishing you the best. One of the governors, and we're looking to have more governors involved. How many riders are participating in this event?
American Legion riders?
Yes.
Is that okay? Because I thought maybe you were asking if there were more people going with me. We're working that out right now with the representative from the American Legion riders at the national headquarters. We'll know more in the next couple of days because he's going to be sending out emails. So knowing the American Legion riders the way I do, because I've gotten many escorts from them going across the country. I'll give you an example. Going from Lansing, Kansas, I got an escort from the American Legion riders all the way into Liberty, Missouri. And that was like a 50-mile ride, and they were with me the whole time. Arizona, Post 5, I think, gave me an escort to the American Legion Post. There were like 17 or 18 riders. So knowing them the way that I do, I think, they're going to be active throughout the state. And I envision the way it happening is that, the flags will be handed from one post to another, and then we'll have a central location for the flags to be stationed for a day or so that, parents can come down and sign the flag. So we're working on all of that right now.
Who is doing your public relations?
We have a couple of people working on that. It's just we have some PR people that we're working with, but it's basically team members in each state are working and communicating. But I think that once we get the national headquarters for the American Legion on board, and they're sending out information, that'll handle some of it. We have a person who is going to be calling the governor's office of each state, especially the states that I'm going to be traveling through. My route plan is going to be posted pretty soon. It's already up on our website, so people will know the states that I'm going through. We have people making phone calls to local media, just informing them of the dates that I'll be there, the mayors of the city councilors, the state representatives. We've got a great boost from Senator Fitzgerald out of Kansas, State Rep Bradford out of Kansas, the Secretary of State, matter of fact, interviewed me going through Kansas. So we've got some great relationships going on, but people on our team are doing the lion's share of that. We're ordinary people doing extraordinary things is what they are.
What does the acronym ALIVE stand for?
Advocacy for Life in Veteran Empowerment.
And how is that involved with all of what you're working on?
Well, it is our suicide prevention program is what it is. That's what it stands for. It is, that sets up the framework for, our program. And our program is unique. It's multifaceted. We only employ veterans to help veterans, and they're specially trained. R.J. Stratton, I call him the chief because he was the chief petty officer. he's going out now and getting certified to go out and train on the new technologies and the new theories behind suicide, and that is a huge benefit for us and for the nation. So we have a program that deals with hiring veterans to work with veterans. We have components for the family. We, provide psychological and psychiatric help for families. A lot of the families are left out of the equation when it comes to educating, family members about suicide and the different things that they should be looking for as it relates to veterans. The waking up at night, the cold sweats, the hiding in the corners, the drinking, the drugging. We also deal with alternative treatments. And we hope someday to take all of that information and feed it up to the American Legion, because they've done an exhaustive study on alternative treatments, and we want to feed that information to them with Dr. Greenberg. So we also understand that female veterans are 4 times more likely to be homeless with their children than male veterans, so the female component of our program is huge. Give you an example, in Arizona, we have a board member named Joan Cisco, who was 20 years in the Marines. She has one of the only low-income female veteran suicide prevention programs in the country. She is one of our what we call the back end relative to female veterans and what they go through. Very successful. She's graduated 9 veterans from her program in the last couple of years. So we're proud of her and what she does. So there are many legs to our program. The enrollment in the community, how we break it out in the community, how we educate the community that we're there, how we work with police and fire departments. In describing, who we are. We don't wait for a veteran to come to us. We go to the vet to get them, to help them, to help the family. So there are many components, and I think the suicide training that some of our board members are going through is absolutely critical. It's revolutionizing the way we look at suicide. So our program, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Tom. No problem.
That's all right.
Do you work with city police PERT units? Do you know about that?
I do not know about that, but we do go in and introduce ourselves. Let me make it perfectly clear. We have components of our live program that are up and running. We want to start it. We're close to starting it in a couple of states. The model has been set. The model has been very successful in that in 7 years they've successfully saved 1,700 veterans from suicide over a 7-year period. So we looked at that and we spoke to the people in that program, and after the 2013 ride, we dedicated our organization to making sure that the Ally program was up and running in every state in the country. So part of our program is to go out and speak to police and fire, let them know we're around, go to the VA, talk to the peer-to-peer specialist, in any other organization like in Arizona called Honor House. That's an incredible organization that does all of the things that we're talking about, canine therapy, equine therapy, art therapy, working with the family members. Their success rate is huge. So I don't quite know about the program you're talking about. I think maybe the chief, the president of the organization knows about that because he's being trained in it.
Could be a big help to you, Tom. It stands for Psychiatric Emergency Response Teams. Trained coppers ride around with a trained psychologist in suicide intervention and prevention. They would be delighted to work with you. Most cities have a PERT officer and PERT unit. Good tip for you, really.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We just got a.
And I will
thing
look into that. I will look into that, and I think it's a great idea.
Good.
That's great. From Boise, Idaho, they wanted to know what was it about when you met Martha Moore. Tell us about that meeting.
Oh, geez. Martha Moore, during our route, in the first year, I wasn't planning on going into Cambridge, Ohio. I was going through Ohio, but I was going about 100 miles north of it, or something that distance. I got a phone call, and basically they said, Martha Moore would like to meet you. And she's a mother who lost her son when he came home from the war, and he's a hero. And I said, oh my goodness, yeah. So we resculpted the route, and it was like 100-mile pedal. So we pedaled about 100 miles into her area, and then I met her, I think, at a American Legion post or a VFW post. And we have a video of the whole thing, and I couldn't contain myself. It was the most amazing moment for me, and I will never ever forget it. And Martha and I are good friends today. But it was we sat down at the post, and there were a few people there. And she got to explain everything that happened. She gave me her son's letter that he had written home from the war that I just posted recently to show the dedication that he had in protecting our freedoms back home here. And she took us home, for lunch. And it was just she's a hero. And it was really it's hard to describe it because it breaks me up. I get very emotional because I don't know what it's like to lose a child. And I was so thankful that she was willing to speak to me, and it was an honor for me because I don't deserve any of that. But what it did was it gave me wind underneath my wings. It made me realize why I was doing what I was doing. Gold Star mothers that I've spoken to this year, and I'm glad that we decided to reach out for those parents. I've communicated with them and said, you're the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I think that if Gold Star and Blue Star parents stand up together collectively and support the Allied program along with the American Legion and other groups, especially businesses, we can stop this. We can stop it. You're not going to eliminate it. But we can, I want to get to zero. I want to get to. And they can do it. They can do it. They can help us raise the funds. They can help us organize. They can help us get into every state. They can help us, the thing about the Allied program is that it employs veterans who have the highest, double the unemployment rate of the nation. So, we can employ veterans doing this. Put a purpose back in their life. Put a mission back in their life. So Martha Moore is an incredible individual. Amazing woman. Amazing.
Well, those are great experiences that you've had and so many travels and so forth. So you're planning on, my understanding, you're leaving June 15th from Utah, and you're going to Augusta, Maine. Do you have a time when you'll be in Maine? Or date?
The significance of June 15th is that it's the birth date of one of the 4 Gold Star mothers. It's her son. I was leaving on the 14th, and she said, "Oh, my son's birthday is the 15th." And I said, "I'm leaving on the 15th to honor your son." And I'll be reading off names of sons and daughters that have committed suicide or died, killed in action on that day as well before I leave to honor them. I think around August 5th or August 6th, we may sculpture the ride as we go along. I'm especially looking at, New York. I think New York is huge, and I think New York can help us, especially with those business people there. Let me put a thought in your mind. We've lost 90,000 veterans to suicide since 2004. We need to stop putting that in economic terms. What does that mean to this country? What does it mean regarding loss of productivity? And I don't mean to insult any parents out there by looking at it this way, and I've already checked with the Gold Star Mothers in our organization to make sure that I was saying the right thing. A veteran at the age of 24 works until he's 75. We lose $1 million per veteran in lost productivity to this country. Not to mention the genius, not to mention, the type of individuals that they are and the character that they have, and what they could do and be the President of the United States of America. We've lost $90 billion in lost productivity because of the suicide rate and the killed in action in this country. Businesses need to stand up and take a look at this. They need to stand up and look at our program and what we can do and how we do it.
Wow.
And I encourage any business person, any governor to give me a phone call.
We've just got a few minutes. It's been great having you on the show. We're just wrapping up. What are all the ways people can find you, find your organizations?
I would say the best thing to do is go to our website, our Facebook page. Take a look at some of the things that we're posting. Our website is tvfoundation.org, and that stands for the Team Vetran Foundation. You can friend me on my friend page, and I will gladly respond and help in any way, shape, connect you to the Team Vetran Foundation and what we're doing. Anybody that wants to put me up for a night as I'm traveling across the country, go to our website, take a look at the 2015 route plan. We're trying to raise money to take the ride across the country. We need about $6,000 for that, and we need about $2,500 for the Flags of Honor. So we need to take the opportunity tonight to think about where we are in our lives, and if you can help us, a dollar counts. Any 50 cents counts. And if you can gladly support us, that's what we need. And if people want to friend us on Facebook, friend me on my Facebook page. But please donate. Please donate. We need that money to go across the country.
It's about to shut us down, Tom. Thanks for coming on. Call in when you're on the road some Saturday during our show hours. We'll have you on while you're on the road. Thanks once more.
I will gladly do that.
Happy Easter, and thanks so much for being on the show. God bless, and be safe on your journey.
Thank you. God bless you guys. Have a good Easter.
God bless you. Happy Easter.
Thanks, Backpack.